Hello and welcome back to my channel. I had an idea. So these are the Christmas cards that I made last year, and these are mixed media Christmas cards, and I will link above where to see those videos. And then these are the fronts mixed media cards that I made this year. And if you watch the video, like I said, they are super fun and easy, and you can make photocopies of them if you needed a whole bunch of them, and then you would have lots and lots of Christmas cards. But here's my idea. I was thinking of, see, my finger is so cracked there, sorry. I was thinking of making, like, let's say, birthday cards, sympathy cards, thank you cards, and using a lot of my different stamps and things. And I think that this would be fun to do mixed media cards like this, all occasion. So here's my thought process. I'm going to use my stamps that I thought would make nice focal points. I put them on this rice paper, and I had 4 to start with. So I just stamped those with my Memento black ink, and it is a permanent ink, so that's going to work. Here is those card bases that we started with for the Christmas cards, and they're just made out of like cereal box cardboard, something like that. I'm using some vintage paper, putting over the top, and I'm sealing it down with my matte medium and giving it a good coat with my brush. Then I'm going to put gesso over the top, and this is how we start all of our mixed media cards. At least that's how I have been starting them. So gave it a wipe so I could see some of the background through, and you can see here that I already did the other 3 so that they would be dry. I'm just going to cut the edges off of the papers, and then we're going to have the card bases, and we'll work on the focal points. Now, I started with this girl underwater, and the name of this stamp is Nautical Adventures, and it is by Whipper Stamper Designs, and I will link that below. Also, here is a paper pad that I've been dying to get my hands on, and it is called Craft Papers, the Essential Craft Papers Watercolors, and the name of the company is Craft Consortium. Okay, and I haven't had any papers like that before, but I thought they were super cool. Okay, so I'm going to cut out this girl image out of the rice paper that I had printed them on, and I just thought, well, here, I'll just kind of pre-cut the 4 different ones. I'm going to rip up some of this watercolor paper, and it was difficult to do because I super love the paper, but we're going to use it. It'll be okay. And this one I thought would be perfect for the underwater scene. So I'm going to use my rip ruler, and I'm going to go ahead and make my part of my background using this pattern paper. And I thought if I turned it over where I had the darker blue on the bottom, that would look like the water underneath her, like that. So kept ripping and got it to where I wanted. I know I'm covering up a lot of the background, and I was thinking the same thing. So I did go to plan B, and I ripped more of that paper, saving all of those scraps, of course, because I love the design on those, and I'm going to use them for the other ones, the other 3 that I'm making for birthday cards, or however they're going to turn out, I'm not sure. So now here's my thought. I thought I'm going to stamp those fish on that vintage paper so that they're going to stand out from the background. So stick with me and you'll see what I mean when it all comes together. There they are, stamped on that paper. And now I'm thinking here, this is taking a little bit of time, and I am going to just do 1 at a time, and then next week I will do one of the other 3 so that this video didn't get too long. So I dug through my stencils, and now I'm looking at a few of my inks to see what's going to work. My papers are down with matte medium, and I'm putting a little bit of gesso on those fish so that they're not so bright bold with that antique paper. It just pushes them back a little bit, and they look really cute. So super cute. Then I use this stencil, and I'll try and figure out what stencil this is and link it in the description below. It is an old one. Now here I'm testing out my makeup brush there, and it had too much green on it, so I ran and got a new one out of the package, and I decided to go with this color, a bluish green, and I'm going through the stencil and just going underneath the area that I thought would be the water, because there's lots of little circles on there, and it really looked like bubbles to me, so I thought it would be really great for underwater. My ink is not very juicy, so I went with another color too and kind of blended the two colors. These are some of the ink pads I don't use very often, so they're a little dried out. But I like the effect. It looks really cool on that underwater image. Gonna give that a dry because I don't want to smear it. I just showed you that I was drinking a wonderful cup of tea. It was chocolate macaroon by David's Tea. I am a tea freak, and the winter season, I believe, is here, so I start drinking tea. I don't drink much of it during the summer months. I'm not a big iced tea drinker. I'm a hot tea, like hot cocoa tea, and I like frothed milk in mine, so it's quite a treat. Okay, so now I'm using some more of my matte medium, and I cut that girl image out real up close to the lines, and I'm going underneath and over the top, and I'm adhering that down to the background that we created with our mixed media papers. I'm putting those fish down, and I decided I liked the big fish following the little fish, so the looks on their face is just hilarious. So letting that dry, giving it a quick dry because we don't want to wreck anything. We're doing good now. And then we're going to use a little bit of acrylic paint, and I'm going to set up my paint palette here, and you'll see it to the side. I just picked out colors that I thought would look nice on the piece. Not doing it 100%. This is a card. This is not a masterpiece where someone's gonna hang it on their walls, but definitely got my paint palette together to see what was going to work. Now you can see I have this stamp in front of me to the top left, and I'm using that as a guide. Here I'm showing you one of my paints. I label them if they're T for transparent, and that one there was a transparent yellow, and I thought they would look pretty good. I put down some tan, mixing it with white for the skin. I put some water there to the top of my palette, and I'm just reusing some plastic covers that I would normally throw in the garbage, and I'm just putting down a little bit of tan, not super detailed. Again, this is a card, not a masterpiece. And then I had some green and some yellow, and I'm going to paint the whole image. And like I said, I'm not taking too much terrible time to do this, but it turned out really super cute in the end. So there you can see I just did the arms, and I'll come back and do all the other colors, and just using some water if the paint is too thick, so that it will go ahead and cover the background quite nicely. So yeah, I'm just using that stamp there as a guide to see what is all happening with these images. Gonna just use the paints from some of my covers. I didn't need very much. Here I'm putting in her hair, and I used kind of like a chestnut orangey color, and I don't have the colors here in front of me, but I'll try and list them for you. They're just acrylic paints, stuff that I had in my stash, anything very special. And if you don't like how something's working, you can just dab it up with a damp cloth because it's not set yet. Making sure that I had the whites of those eyes, because the eye expression on this stamp is, super great, just like the facial expressions on these fish. So very important to get that in. using a little bit more different color of a brown paint for her hair, and you can see just real simple painting. Here I'm using a little gray for the mask, and I thought I'd leave this part in because I decided just to do one card per video, and then next week we'll go ahead and do another one. I think these mixed media cards are going to be quite fun. We don't have to just do them for the holidays. You know, I give out a lot of cards during the year, and this one is definitely a great image. I thought would be quite fun. Adding a little bit of green to those fish. I thought maybe dots. Did not like it, so blended it out. Did not like that. So I just decided to wipe it up with my damp towel that I have there on the side. So yeah, you can always get rid of things if you don't like them. Don't be afraid. Just go ahead and put some paint down and color in the image. Now I'm thinking sentiment, and I had an idea of just a just because card. So here I used my Posca paint pen, and it's a real fine black, and I went around all the image just to make that pop. Here I'm inking up my stamp. It says just because, and I'm using my cushion mat there to go ahead and put that image down on the card. Looking cute. I love it. Then what did I think? There's bubbles and there's these little splashes. So I was thinking, oh, the bubbles look good from the stencil that I did. But in my little collection of gems here, I was remembering I had these really cool splash things. They're just little pieces of plastic. So I'm going to use that and these Nouveau drops and put the splashes down by her feet, and also the Nouveau drops as a bubble. Now here I had some different Nouveau drops, and I wanted to show you how you could make those splashes of rain or water in this case. You just put a drop and then drag a pin through it, and it gives those little droplets of water. So the color I used for that is a Nouveau Crystal Drops, and the color is upside down here, Caribbean Ocean. And so that would have worked too if I wouldn't have had these really super cute little drop gems. So I put 3 around her foot that's coming up out of the water as a splash, using my white Nouveau drops, and the specific color for that is Nouveau Crystal Drops, the white, and that's all it is called, is gloss white. And here I wanted to put the brown just vintage photo around the card. It just finishes it so much nicer, finishes that edge. And I am going to figure out which piece I want to mount it on, because just on the white there it wasn't really popping very well. So I had 3 options. I thought maybe that what is it, kind of a rust colored would draw in with her hair. I had some greenish yellow that would tie in with her swimsuit, and then I went back to where I started with that to tie in with her hair, and I thought that was great. So I'm just going to assemble the card before I put down those last Nouveau drops for the bubbles. And this is how I go ahead and adhere it. Of course it was crooked, so I tore it back off, getting it a little more straight, and I'm cutting off the edge of the card with my great big scissors. I love these scissors. They're called Amplify. Super great. I'll try and find them and link them for you. Going around the whole piece again with my vintage photo distress ink, because I like that look where the card is finished, no white edges showing through. And now that I trimmed that, I had to go ahead and go around the edges one more time. I'm going to mount my dried card front with some double-sided tape, because with all of the water and paint we put on the front of the card, it's a little warped, and I could have done dimensional tape too, but I wanted to keep it kind of simple here. Peeling off the liner of that double-sided tape, going to adhere it to the front of my card, and we have a really super cute mixed media just because all occasion card. I think it's super fun. I'm going to put those drops of Nouveau Crystal drops in white to resemble some more bubbles, and I think this is a project worth cheering about. I'm going to do the other three. I have that frog, I have the party hat, and I have that cardinal that I stamped out. And I was thinking I could put some of my Neo colors down, but I thought just a little bit of shadow underneath her with my Stabilo pencil is all it's going to need. And I just got a brush with a little bit of water and blended out that brown to give that shading, like we would do on a normal mixed media piece. This is just a little card, and I think it's going to be really fun to do all of these different mixed media cards. And I'll keep doing them for a while. Let me know what you think. I really enjoy making cards, so I think if we can use both these techniques and all of the supplies that we have as a card maker or a mixed media creator or an art journal person, we have all the same supplies, and I think this is going to be a good little series. So stay tuned. I'll be back next Tuesday to do another card, and I hope you enjoyed. Leave some comments, subscribe, and try that technique, with those raindrops. Here's the ones we'll work on next time. All right, you guys have a great week, and we'll talk to you again soon. Have a great day.